Listen for words of faith in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verses 1 to 10. The truth of the matter is, whoever doesn't enter the sheepfold through the gate, but climbs in some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep, the one for whom the keeper opens the gate. The sheep know the shepherd's voice. The shepherd calls them by name and leads them out. Having led them all out of the fold, the shepherd walks in front of them, and they follow, because they recognize the shepherd's voice. They simply won't follow strangers. They'll flee from them, because they don't recognize the voice of strangers. Even though Jesus used this metaphor with them, they didn't grasp what he was trying to tell them. He therefore said to them again, "The truth of the matter is, I am the sheep gate. All who came before me were thieves and marauders, whom the sheep didn't heed. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be safe. You'll go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and slaughter and destroy. I came that you might have life and have it to the full. For the good news of divine love, thanks be to God."
A reading from the Acts of the Apostles. They devoted themselves to the apostles' instructions and the communal life, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. A reverent fear overtook them all, for many wonders and signs were being performed by the apostles. Those who believed lived together, shared all things in common. They would sell their property and goods, sharing the proceeds with one another as each had need. They met in the temple, and they broke bread together in their homes every day. With joyful and sincere hearts, they took their meals in common, praising God and winning the approval of all the people. Day by day, God added to their number those who were being saved. For insights from the radical community of the early church, we give thanks. And the contemporary reading by Jan Richardson, "And the table will be wide." And the table will be wide, and the welcome will be wide, and the arms will open wide to gather us in. And our hearts will open wide to receive. And we will come as children who trust there is enough. And we will come unhindered and free. And our aching will be met with bread, and our sorrow will be met with wine. And we will open our hands to the feast without shame. And we will turn towards each other without fear. And we will give up our appetite for despair, and we will taste and know of delight. And we will become bread for a hungering world, and we will become drink for those who thirst, and the blessed will become the blessing, and everywhere will be the feast. For the gift of an open table and generous hospitality, we give thanks.
As an idealistic 21-year-old, I began my first professional job in a Catholic parish in southern Wisconsin as their director of religious education for kindergarten to year 6 students. The program I coordinated was for the parish children who attended public school. There were no RE classes in public schools in that area, so parents would bring them to religious education classes after school in the parish or in the evening once a week. I had the idea to start a newsletter for the families and suggested we call it Acts 2, with the aspiration that this communication and all our programs would inspire our families in their faith and deepen their sense of community and belonging. Our masthead quoted Acts 2, and they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of the bread and to prayer. There was sometimes a stigma attached to parents and families who did not send their children to the parish Catholic school, second-class citizens, so to speak. It was a high priority for me, therefore, to do what I could to enable those families and children to feel fully included in parish life and enjoy a sense of belonging. For me, this verse from Acts expressed it beautifully. So when the liturgy team here asked me to give a reflection, the opportunity to reflect with you about what has long been a meaningful passage for me was warmly welcomed. I invite you to immerse yourselves with me into this community Luke describes in Acts 2, verses 42 to 47. In his commentary, Jeremy Williams offers this summary. Acts portrays an idyllic community arising from the fiery events of Shavuot in chapter 2. Quick footnote here, Shavuot is a Jewish festival celebrated 50 days after Passover, commemorating the giving of the Torah to Moses and the Israelites at Mount Sinai. Williams continues, those who welcomed Peter's message created a fellowship, and they commit themselves to learning more about the message. Acts connects the core elements of Peter's message to how the newly formed community attempts to put the critique of empire into practice. This community understood itself in partnership with each other and with God. One of the most striking features is the sharing of all things in common. Acts 2 presents a radical mutuality, says Williams in his commentary. It's not just sharing of goods and resources, there's a redistribution of wealth so that those who are most vulnerable have what they need. He points out that this is in contrast to the Roman Empire, which was dominating, punitive, and violent. The Acts 2 account tells of people selling what they have and creating a common purse so that those who had less did not go without. Those verses are, those who believed together shared all things in common. They would sell their property and goods, sharing the proceeds with one another as each had need. It is a stark contrast to the dominant Roman rule, which would exploit and oppress the poor, the vulnerable, rather than being cast aside, were equal as they shared in the resources. What we see in this radical community of Acts is that wealth and resources were there to create opportunities for flourishing, willingly offered so all could live fully. Today's reading from John's Gospel highlights this as well. Jesus presents a similar contrast. I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be safe. You'll go out and in and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and slaughter and destroy. I came that you might have life and have it to the full. Jesus offers safety and flourishing, not destruction. Abundant pastures are also described in Psalm 23 we sang just a few minutes ago. God leads us to green pastures, besides quiet waters. My soul is restored. This psalm, like John's Gospel, paints a picture of deep relationship, of care, safety, and flourishing. And for Luke's community in Acts, abundance is evident. Today's passage speaks of so much. It speaks of awe and wonder, joyful praise, the sharing of bread, resources for all, and vibrant growth as each day God added to their number those who were being saved. The painting on the liturgy program cover today is from the St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church in Graz, Austria, from their Chapel of Mercy. It is often used by the St. Vincent de Paul Society around the world, depicting what the members of the society strive to be. Vincentian spirituality seeks to have Jesus at the center where all are equal, hence the round table. The artist, Kurt Welther, describes his intention. A group of people are depicted at a table. The poor, the elderly, people of color, released prisoners, a prostitute, vagrants, asylum seekers. In short, people on the margins of society. 12 in number, and in their midst sits Vincent de Paul, sharing the humble meal with them as one of them, with Jesus at the center. Radical community with a place for all, where all are welcome. All are welcome, as we will sing later in this service. Great efforts are taken for this community of Pitt Street Uniting Church to be a place where all are welcome. This radical community is echoed in Jan Richardson's reading today. And the table will be wide, and the welcome will be wide, and the arms will open wide to gather us in, and our hearts will open wide to receive, and we will come as children who trust there is enough. My friends, today we celebrate Acts 2 vibrantly living in our midst. This sharing of the meal, sharing all in common, devoting ourselves to the teachings of Jesus that we hear of and learn from today's apostles and from each other. To be Christ for one another. Shortly we will share bread to be a living sign of this. We've heard in these readings today of God's abundance, of believers' generosity and willingness not to share, not just to share, but give up what they have so others will flourish. We have heard of a God who calls us to abundance and to belong. Let us embrace this, as Jan Richardson writes, and we will give up our appetite for despair, and we will taste and know of delight. I look around this church this morning, and I see abundance. Generous, loving people who open their hearts to many in your day-to-day lives. Let's celebrate who we are and the gift each person is, the abundance we have been gifted with that we share. Celebrate the goodness that you are, the light you shine. In the smile to a stranger, the kindness you offer to a neighbor, the listening ear you give to a friend or family member, the delight you take in small things, the patience you show when others move more slowly or respond more slowly. Celebrate the goodness that you are, the work and volunteering you pour your heart and effort into day after day, the care you take to recycle goods or not to use too much water, relishing the beauty of the earth and walking gently on country. Speaking up for the voiceless, taking a stand, marching for peace, working for justice, caring so much that it hurts. Let us celebrate this abundance, my friends. Let Jan Richardson's words echo this radical community we seek to be and to become. And we will become bread for a hungering world, and we will become drink for those who thirst, and the blessed will become the blessing, and everywhere will be the feast.